Hello, my name is Ramon Bassett, your host, along with our producer, Brennan Lambrecht. Brennan, the last episode we talked with Harvey Miller with Keeper, a password management company, about the importance of organizations using a password manager as a foundation for their layered cybersecurity strategy. We learned that 81% of breaches happen as a result of reused passwords. And of course, the reason why most people reuse passwords is they can't remember it. So with a solid encrypted password manager like Keeper, you don't have to worry about remembering all the passwords. You can just have to remember just the one. So I'm really excited about today's episode. We're going to discuss how park districts across the nation, not just in Illinois, but across the nation, can increase the effectiveness of their community engagement without relying on email, as well as being more efficient in handling and managing their multiple Facebook pages. Current Technologies works with many municipalities, park districts, and other government organizations with all their technology needs, and that's why when Hanz approached us to be a partner, we jumped at the opportunity because we know the unique needs of local government organizations.
Ramon, you kind of beat me to it already, but today's guest is Hanz Van Aardt, the president and founder of VoyagerNetz. He started the business 27 years ago and now lives in St. Charles, Illinois with his wife and 3 daughters. He works closely with several park districts to help them streamline community reach and engagement through texting and messaging. Hanz was a speaker at this year's IAPD/IPRA's Soaring to New Heights conference in Chicago, and VoyagerNet was a titanium sponsor of the conference. They are committed to helping park districts get the word out about their programs, services, events, and promotions. I know a few of our employees are golfers and would love to hear about any golfing events or promos that you have.
Yes, definitely. Hi, Hanz. Welcome to Cyber Connect, and thank you for joining me. So, you and I are more than just business partners, but with our companies, but friends, and I'm so glad and excited that you're
nice to be
here. Yeah. So, to start, why don't you give our listeners a quick background of yourself and why you decided to focus on park districts?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. So I started my business 27 years ago, way back 1996. We got an opportunity to focus on customer communication in the medical industry. This was way back, and it was also in South Africa. And we built up an entire business around automating and streamlining customer communication. So I moved into the US. We arrived here 2016, and we started developing a program and a technology focused specifically on message-based communication. We saw around about 5, 6, 7 years ago that a lot of community members, a lot of customers preferred communicating on messaging and texting. This was a big thing 10, 15 years ago. It wasn't that big, but now it's becoming really, really big. And we saw this wave increasing internationally, and we thought, well, let's adopt this. Let's focus on this and build technology around this. And in St. Charles, we were working very closely with the St. Charles Chamber of Commerce, and we had one event where the St. Charles Park District attended. And right after the event, they were like, we need this. We had a session with them, and they explained to us they wanted to enhance community engagement. They had 15 Facebook pages that they were managing, very challenging. And we started working with them around that. Firstly, our solution was an excellent fit. And then after that, we engaged with them, and they explained to us that they wanted to also increase community reach. They wanted to be able to reach the right people in the community with urgent and important information and with the right promotions. And it turned out that texting is perfect. Texting and messaging is perfect for both of these needs.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I'd rather, cut to the chase, and I think most other people do too. They'd rather text and be able to get information, and rather than having to deal with a bunch of calling and I know later on here in a few minutes you'll tell us kind of how this your platform works, but just the frustration level of calling in and having to re-explain your question or scenario to somebody that, oh, no, I'm not the one who handles that. Let me transfer you to this and all that. But so what have you found to be the biggest challenge that park districts have in communicating with their patrons and community?
So it revolves around two things. Firstly, you mentioned it. Voice is not the perfect channel because often you call into a big organization like a park district. You've got a specific question, but the park district is vast. St. Charles Park District has 15 different groups or teams dealing with customers. So how do you get in front of the right people with complex questions? So some park districts have a list of frequently asked questions, which they have there at the front desk.
Right.
But what happens if someone asks a question that they can't answer?
It's not on script.
Yeah, it's not on the script there. So now you need to cut the call, tell somebody you'll get back to them, and then reach out to the team member and then get back to that community member. Whereas with texting and with messaging, it's more of a long, ongoing conversation. Somebody texts in, that entire message is there, and that message can be transported around, and it can be placed in front of the right team members. So that's the first big challenge, is engagement. How do you optimize engagement? Then secondly, it ties into that. Messaging sounds easy, but you have multiple channels. You have texting, you have WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, web chat. So the thing is, how do you bring all of this together into one simple solution? That's a big challenge.
Yeah,
if you're gonna have 5 different systems, it creates even a more complicated scenario.
Because right now, in order, let's say they have multiple Facebook pages and the community is reaching out, they have to kind of manage which page it came in from. And then once it's read, isn't it something about where it makes it look like it's been read, so somebody else could miss that, who actually can answer that question,
absolutely.
right?
On Facebook Messenger, if let's say you have a team of 5 people dealing with inbound conversations, is one of those individuals read a message, then Facebook Messenger itself sees it as read. So that creates a little bit of a team challenge. That's one of the problems that they wanted to solve and that park districts typically want to solve. Then around that as well, you'd like everything to be in one inbox. You don't want to have 5 different inboxes. And you want to easily be able to collaborate with other team members. Only bring the team members in to conversations when they are relevant. So let's say a question comes in to the main desk focused on the water park. Main desk wants to pull in one person into that conversation and discuss that question with them, and maybe even hand the conversation over to that individual. It's not that easy on typical messaging platforms. It's very easy on our solution. So that's the one challenge. The other one is reaching the right people with the right information.
Right, yeah.
So how do you get the right information in front of the right community members? Think about that. Email is what almost everybody uses. Problem with email is the open rates now is as low as 20%.
Yeah.
We've found park district open rates to be a bit higher, up into the 40s, but that still means that about 60% of people do not get that urgent and important info or the promotional info. The other problem is they often get it a day or 2 or 3 down the line. So imagine a cancelled event. You email it, but they just open it Monday morning, not Saturday morning,
right.
And the event was maybe Saturday afternoon.
And also, I know, like I said a few minutes ago, current technologies we work with, we're really well embedded in working with local government and such. And I do know a lot of park districts, based on their budgets and such, if they can get and show that there is more community engagement around a program, a service, or around a new facility, or they want to show that there's need for an additional facility or different program, if they can get more people to attend and to show that, they can use that to leverage to be able to go and get what they're needing for the community, right?
That's super important. So the what do park districts value? So obviously some of the things they do, they generate funds off, and they actually generate large portions of their funds out of paid for events, paid for memberships. But even if it's a free event, you still want to have as many people there as possible. And how do you get people there? It's remind them about things they are interested in at the right point. For example, myself, I have 3 girls. I love to take them to events that's related to young girls. They're from 3 years old to 11 years old. And getting that right promotion in front of me at a relevant time, that triggers action. And that action is how you increase participation, both for paid for events as well as for free events. You're already incurring the expense to have the event. Might as well have as many people there as possible. And as you say, that increases community awareness of the park district, and it increases people's perception of the value that the park district adds to the community.
Definitely. So now obviously we all know that in any type of technology there are other platforms out there. So what makes VoyagerNetz, the engage and reach messaging platform, different than the other messaging platforms? And also, since you're the one who developed this and your team of software engineers, make sure we tell them the team did all this if they're going to listen to this podcast. So what kind of customization can you provide for a client, a park district that maybe, let's say, a large platform might not be able to do? So so what's different about your compared to other messaging platform, and what type of level of customization could you bring to a park district?
That's a great question, Ramon. So what makes us different is firstly our focus on park districts. We have an absolute focus on creating the best engagement and reach technology for the park districts, focused on their needs. And that's different from a company that is trying to solve this for any type of business.
Right.
They just cannot have the focus. And then around your question around customization, for us, you can customize the system, and we'll help the park districts customize it from a dashboard point of view, so that you have very custom dashboards. If you're looking at the different types of conversations that you've had during the month, you can easily see a breakdown of those. And then secondly, also your custom responses. And then something that we've built specifically for park districts is the concept of groups. So our system, and this is very custom. I haven't seen this in any other system. So if you have multiple facilities, you'll create groups, and then any conversation that comes in from a Facebook page or a number linked to that group will automatically route to the right people in the park district. The groups was built in park district, is what's built for park districts, and it understands their needs really well.
Well, that's important, especially also, a lot of seasonal employment happens with park districts, and so they beef up their staff around, the warmer months typically, but having it to where it automatically routes to the right person, I would imagine that's very helpful for
very helpful, and it's really easy. And that's something I want to mention is the park districts asked us if they could reuse a user for these cases. If someone's on a morning shift or someone's on an afternoon shift, and we are very flexible from that point of view. Often they create a user for the facility. They say this is a facility user, and whoever's on shift can use that user. When they're off shift, the next person uses it. So that's another way that's different from the way we approach it, focused on their needs.
That's perfect. So now, what would be something that, let's say, the golf director, since Brendan and I are golfers, and we have a couple other people here that love golf. So if you're a golf director, please, we'd love to go visit your golf course. But anyway, so let's just say, so how would like a golf director, or how would a recreation director be able to go and get people, other than get people to sign up the community to get these announcements to, let's say, I think you used the term self-segment in the past. So describe that self-segmentation and how that would work.
So very good question, and a really important question. So if you are going to segment your community to get the right information in front of the right people, you need to segment them. And the best way we found is to help them to self-segment. And we use QR codes for this. Let's say golf director at the golf club, you put a little sign up to say, if you're interested in promotions for the golf club, scan this QR code. Scan the QR code with your mobile device, click send, and you're on that specific list. And you can do the same thing around anything. And you basically use the events that you already have to promote these lists. You can use the book that you send out, fun guides that people send out, say if you're interested in anything related to seniors, scan this QR code and send, and then people climb on the topic. And once they're on the topic, you have the ability of getting the right promotions in front of them. It cannot be easier. It's really easy. We've found that park districts find it easy to get people onto the lists. And by having multiple lists, you're allowing people to do self-segmentation.
Now, also, can you describe, because another distinguishing factor, like, for example, there are many districts that use rain outline.
Yes.
As a way to communicate when their events are canceled due to weather or some other unforeseeable event. How does Engage and Reach compare to that? And yeah, so describe that, because
Yes.
I know it does have a function.
Absolutely.
But
has a really big function. A lot of park districts use rain outline. And I never knew what rain outline was. And as we were working in the St. Charles Park District, I started seeing them use our Reach QR code on the rain outline page. And that's literally when I was like, oh, what problem are they trying to solve? I needed to understand that they're trying to solve a problem here, and I wanted to understand that problem. And what rain outline does, it allows you to manage the status of an outdoor event or a facility or field. So people can phone into the line, they can type in an extension code, and they can then get the latest status of that specific facility or outdoor field or outdoor event. And that's where the name Rain Outline comes from. Mm-hmm. They do have a few things around texting, but what we decided and what we saw is texting is a fantastic way to solve this. One of the challenges with voice is if you put a URL in there, a website URL, you say go to this location, it just doesn't work over voice. You can imagine a voice conversion from text trying to read that out. Where texting is fantastic. It comes into text, you tap on it and it takes you to the specific location on your website. So we added into Reach the ability to have status updates, which you can send to people if people want to follow that specific facility, say the dog park. It's also indoor, if it's an indoor event that you have. People follow it, and you can push the notification out to them, or they can text in status with the facility and they can pull the latest status. If they maybe don't want to climb on the list permanently, they just want to get the status, they can easily get that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but let's say that happens and there's a rain out of something. I coach baseball, and so sometimes you got weather. Can't the community actually engage back and actually ask questions like, okay, it's rained out, but are we going to still have practice elsewhere or indoors? Or are we going to do, can
the output, the reach that you do, and it's the same with any reach, whether it's promotional as well as urgent and important info, someone can reply to the message and that creates an engagement with the right team members on the internal, in the park district. So let's say this is baseball, it'll go in front of the baseball team that's manning the baseball.
Because I know when I've done this in the past, you go and you tell the team that you still have to follow up with a whole bunch of other information, and then they start emailing back, and which is okay, but if it can be to where it all comes on one interface where they can actually ask that question and get in front of the right person.
This is really powerful from a promotional point of view. So imagine you're putting the right promotion in front of the right person, and he wants to ask a question around that. Yeah. That question is as simple as replying. And that turns an outreach into an engagement into a sale.
That's great. I think being able to focus like that it would just benefit the park districts from every aspect. Now, share with us some of the feedback you're getting from the park districts, the ones that you know that have allowed you to say anything that implemented your messaging platform.
Yes.
So, what are some of the feedback you're getting from them?
So the feedback's very positive. On the reach side, the ability to reach people with text messaging, the community feedback is fantastic. People in fitness clubs love the fact that they're getting messages in a timely way about cancellations. You know, the worst thing is pitching up at an event and realizing, oh, it's canceled.
Yeah.
And I did receive an email, but I never read it. So now the community loves it for that reason. Park District loves it because it's all simplified. Engagements, we've worked it out, it's up to 300% more effective versus phone, using messaging and texting. And with our solution, everything comes into one inbox, into the right team. So whether this is the water park team, they have their inbox and they can easily monitor what's going on there. So it's been positive. I want to share around feedback. Some of the things that they wanted to add was the ability to have status. That's now in the new solution.
Okay, great.
The groups was feedback that we got from the park districts that they wanted to isolate messages in the facilities, in the teams for the facilities. So that's also, so we're very responsive as well.
Well, that goes back to the customization, to where you do actually listen to the feedback you're getting, so that you can develop and make it more robust for that. Now, talking about the different technology, is used within that employee interface. You talk about how different groups segmented, also different ways of looking. You do have an app, right?
Yes, we have an iPhone and an Android app.
Okay, iPhone, Android app. And so how user friendly is it? Because you're gonna have multiple staff members, probably at different technology savviness, if that's a thing. Can somebody who's working at their computer also have to go, if they pick up their phone and walk away, do they have to reload something? Or?
It was just developed, focused on simplicity. We wanted the app to be natural. We wanted it to feel like Messenger, with all of the benefits of having multi-channel into this one system. It's incredibly user-friendly. About, I would say, an hour's training and a user is up and running. And typically what we do is we train a few people in the park district and they end up training the others, showing them. And it's a very natural product. There is no server installation at the park district. So from a technology point of view, it's incredibly simple. All of it's software as a service. You download the app that you want. It can be installed on Windows. It can be installed on Mac, Android, as well as iPhone, as well as iPad even. And then what I love is the fact that you can have a conversation on your desktop, and let's say you're going out for lunch, you carry the conversation with you on your mobile device, continue it on your mobile device, get back to your desktop and just continue all the conversations that you were busy with on your desktop. And it's seamless switches between the devices that you've got.
That's nice. And also one thing as well, let's say you do have a staff member who has the engagement and there's a question that they don't know.
Yes.
Tell us briefly about how their supervisor can see that, help that person without the community member having to re-explain everything.
So one of the feedback that we did get is that supervisors, managers now have way more visibility into what's going on with conversations. Imagine email. You don't really know what's going on in somebody's email inbox or on the phone calls. Whereas with our system, a supervisor within a group, let's say it's a facility supervisor, they can oversee all the conversations in that group. They can just monitor them, they can see what's going on. If they see something that they would like to jump in on, they can easily just have a side conversation. So we also have, think of it like a Teams or a Slack, where you can go in and ask a question, and then the person with the conversation will instantly see, oh, there's a question, and they can respond over there. Or they can react on advice. So it's perfect for coaching, onboarding new staff. But also, if I'm a user engaging with a customer and I've got a question and I'm not sure how to answer it, I can add somebody from another team, another facility, and just ask a question. Let's say it's a financial question, I'm not sure, or a technical question. Pull somebody in and I have a side conversation with them, or I can hand the conversation over to them if I want to do that as well.
That's great. So if a park district marketing director or executive director is interested in taking a look at your solution, what would be the next step?
Next step would be talking to you guys. You guys are a reseller of ours, so that would be the natural next step. But let me explain how this typically is done. It's 15-minute demonstration. So all you need to get an eagle's eye view of the product. Typically we book either a 15-minute or a 30-minute demonstration with you guys, with a customer then. And then if they are interested, we do have a free trial. If they really want to evaluate, that gives you a lot of options to see it in action. And then from there, I always say, start small. Don't think of this as a big, I'm going to rip out something and replace it. Just add texting and bring your Facebook pages into a simple use case, bring it into the marketing department and start there.
And start beginning to grow it as you start getting more comfortable with it.
Exactly. Maybe identify a few outreach programs. You want to maybe reach people, golf, when implemented in the golf, take that as a use case and identify one or two like that and just grow it naturally from there.
Well, that's exciting. I'm really excited about it. I'm glad that you have trusted us to be able to resell your software and your program. Hanz, thank you very much for being our guest on this episode of Cyber Connect and for sharing how park districts can reach and engage their communities in an effective and efficient way.
Thank you so much.
If you are a park district director, marketing manager, or official, and you're frustrated with having to manage multiple Facebook pages or concerned that your emails about your programs and services that you sent to your patrons are not being open, reach out to me to schedule a demo of the software. We'll be happy to do so. Hanz and I will be on that and walking you through this. You can reach me at 630-317-5657 or by email at rbassett@getcurrent.net. You can also enjoy my weekly technology videos by following me on LinkedIn and YouTube at #ITYouCanThriveOn. As I say goodbye, I want to thank our producer Brennan Lambrecht and our sponsor Current Technologies. Until next time, be safe.